Pastor Lewis here. We are on day 2 of our kickoff of the series Family Matters. We're focusing on the family, leading up for the biggest weekend ever. Listen, and today we have an awesome woman of God who's going to give some tips about wealth as a family. Listen, you do not want to miss this. Go ahead and get your family right now tuning together. I hope you're not still tired from the workout from yesterday that we had with Bree. So go ahead and get your family together. Let's sit down. Remember, we're doing this at noon and at 7 p.m. So have those times. If you miss it during the day, grab your family in the evening and make sure you all sit down and write these notes. Our apostle and first lady has put this together for us so that we're able to receive what it is that God has to say. Because again, family matters to God, family matters to our leaders, and family should matter to you. So grab your pen and paper, because this is going to be something you need to take notes on. You're going to want to hear of how we can excel as a family in our finances and have wealth that's long term. So we're going to turn it over to Miss Esther.
Welcome, Truth Nation friends and family, to this special broadcast as we kick off the biggest weekend ever. Yes, we're excited to be with all of the families this week. And as we kick off, we are engaging all of our families and sharing some topics on how to be successful as a family. So one of the topics we'll introduce today is wealth as a family. Wealth as a family, we can narrow it down to what I'll call the bibs, right? Just the same way that bibs are used to protect the babies from making a mess on their clothes, the wealth bibs will help you protect making a mess of your finances. So what does BIBS stands for? BIBS is BIBS, that stands for budgets, investments, business, and sewing. So let's kick off with budgets. Every successful business spends a huge amount of time on creating a budget for their year. There is months and months of planning, of assessing the budget to ensure it aligns with their future goals. When we look at Luke 14 and 28, it tells us to count the cost. So we find that budgeting is in the Bible. In the context of Luke, it talked about building a budget in the sense of a construction being prepared, building a building. You don't go in without first counting the cost. So as we are being financially responsible for the wealth that God has blessed us with, it is important that we do the same. We budget and prepare on how to spend it responsibly. So let's talk a little bit about budgets. I know you're saying, oh, I'm not a company, but in fact we are. God has given us our family as pretty much our company to oversee. Parents, we're the CEO. The children, the free labor. So in a sense, we are still governing a company. And it's so important that, again, we make sure that there's a budget in place. What does the budget entail? We can simplify it to just look at how much you're getting for the month and how much you need to spend. Detail that out so that you can see how much is left. You won't know how much you're able to move on to doing the investments, the business, without knowing first how much you have left. So start off with your monthly amount that you receive as an income, whether it's multiple incomes in the household or singular incomes, and detail out your monthly bills and expenses. Don't forget the miscellaneous items. Those can be tricky because if you don't budget the miscellaneous, things like laundry detergent and cleaning supplies, or the $20 a month that you're putting in the children's lunch account, you'll miss those important steps on making sure you have completely laid out what your budget should be for the month. Once you've completed your detailed expenses, you'll see how much you have left. And from there, you can monitor the progress. Okay, I'm spending too much in McDonald's, right? I'm spending too much at McDonald's. So let's lay a little bit away from the outdoor dining. These will give you opportunities to do the next things that will help your family build a successful wealth as a family. Involve your children. These are areas that you want to show the children as they're younger, that as you are spending, you're actually taking away from other opportunities to do other things. That helps them also to be financially responsible. As you're monitoring, you have the opportunity to see how much is left to go on to the next opportunities for investments in business. Let's say last month, you realized you only had 67 left after you've done your budget and your expenses. Well, this gives you an opportunity to reduce, and you see next month is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are give you opportunities to say, I am going to use the additional amounts and coupled with prayer and ask God, what's the next strategy? Okay, now that I've been able to do this, I'm going to focus on reducing my debt. It is very important for us to have a goal or a strategy on how to reduce our debt. Debt there's some opportunities with debt. Financial counselors recommend that you start off by paying your lowest amount first and kind of gradually into the bigger balances. It's important. We've spent the money. Not all of it was necessary, but this is our opportunity as God is giving us another chance to be more responsible, to pay off the debt that we need to pay off. Helps with your credit score, of course, and doing other things in life. So another rule that of finance is to always have 3 months of savings. Having that 3 months of savings will allow for emergencies. Now, don't get intimidated if you're not able to save up the 3 months at one time, of course. But once you've done your budget and your expenses and you can see your opportunities, you can see how much you're able to contribute towards reaching that goal of having 3 months in your savings, right? Exactly. So being able to see a bigger, wider scope of your finances each month and monitor the progress will help you be successful in navigating for your next. What's the next? Investments. The sooner, the better is the rule. The sooner you invest, the better the outcomes and the better the results can be. If you start investing as a child, by now, things will look great, right? We say that all the time to ourselves, oh, I should have started when I was this much younger or that much younger. So let's look into investments. There's different forms of investments. There's more secure investments in bonds. If you're not into the fluctuations of the stock market, I highly recommend using a financial advisor for that. But there are other opportunities. Our apostle have recently released to us the prophetic declaration of getting land. That's an investment. Don't be intimidated by the idea as well. Oh, how can I get? There are options. God will give you the strategy. There are land that's often auctioned off, so that's an opportunity to get a reduced price on land. You can go to your local county's website, and on their property search, you'll be able to get more information on how you can purchase land by auction. Other opportunities for investment would be in a franchise. If you love a particular restaurant, there are opportunities to invest in a franchise as low as $10,000. So if that's your venture, if you're into the restaurant industry, you believe that's where God is calling you to invest. Again, with prayer, you'll have a strategy, but it all starts with ensuring that what you have now, you've been responsible with it. Some other topics are surrounding investment. So as you're venturing in these opportunities for investment, you want to ensure that you have a will. It's so important that you cover all of your investments with a will. So many stories of families being in dispute or losing to the county or other government agencies, things that have been in their family for a long time because a will was not established. So as you are growing as a family, protect your future family by ensuring a will is in place and all of the investment, all of the hard work that has been put into securing this is not lost. So then there's business. Starting a business after you've realized, hey, I have been over the years responsible based on my budget. Looks like we can invest in a business. God has given me an idea and I want to move forward with it. So business can be a service or a product. And depending on the type of business, you'll know exactly if you want to start it as an LLC, as a corp. Those are the type of things that you want to decide on prior to starting the business, because all of the information you need to, all of the documents rather that you need to apply for a business will require you to know in advance the setup, the style of business that this is. It all comes down to liability. So how much of a liability you want in the business will determine if you want to set it up as a sole proprietor, LLC, corp, and so forth. So talk with a business advisor on what's the best approach with your type of business on how to set that up. Once you set that up, you'll get an EIN, you'll register with the state to ensure that they're aware that you have started a business. And in most municipalities, you'll need to register that business there as well. Get more information on all of the rules and regulations surrounding that business. You don't want to start a business and that business requires additional licensings that you were not aware of. That can be costly. So ensure you are getting as much information as possible on the best approach on starting your business. There's other ways as well that you can create a business. There's ways that you can make money from patented ideas. If you go to patent.gov, you'll be able to search different ideas that you've maybe thought about to see if it already exists. If it doesn't exist, you can apply to patent that idea, which means you own the idea and no one else can use it. So many times we've had opportunities to create something new and we shy away from it. We think it's too big for us. But the reality is God has imprinted that idea in us so that we can excel in it, so that we can move forward in it. So don't miss up on those opportunities. The most hurtful thing, I think, is walking in a store and seeing your idea on a shelf that God had put on your heart 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And now it's on the shelf because someone else ran with the idea. So these are some ways that you can start a business. Once you start the business, it's so important to open a business account. The business account is your way to prove your business's transactions and the success of your business. I encourage you to shy away from cash transactions. They're harder to monitor and harder to prove. And it's so important to have these transactions recorded in a way that as you are expanding your business, you can present to your investors or bank the financial position of your business. They can see that you're coming in with a lot of income and your expenses are not as much. You're a profitable business. The only way to prove the sustainability of your business is to present financial records. And financial records need to be documented, well documented, and some receipts to support that as well. So highly encourage that you use a business account and flow all of your transactions through there. In addition to that, so that just the same way you were doing this for your family in creating a budget for your family, you also can create a budget and monitor that. Monitor your business prosperity through some type of bookkeeping software. If you're doing it by hand, that's fine, but it's recommended to use a software that help make things easier. Softwares are available online, or you can purchase them and place them right on your desktop. Either will be very much welcome to use, and you'll be able to see the success of your business that way as well. Now we're to sowing. After the success of all of the above mentioned, remember the Lord thy God, who has given you the power to get wealth. That's in Deuteronomy 8:18. We must remember the Lord thy God. He gives us the power. He gave us the strategy. He imprinted that idea, that business idea. He gave us the will and the fortitude to go through schooling so that we can obtain the careers that we do have. Remember the Lord. So sowing is a huge part of the wealth of a family. It secures your wealth now and in the future. I love Malachi 3:10 where it talks about tithes, but my favorite part is verse 11 where the Lord promises to rebuke the devourer. You want to be able to protect everything that God has entrusted with you. So paying your tithes and offering, sowing secures your finances now and in the future. This isn't just something as a family that we incorporate. Many large organizations that are successful today, they allocate millions of dollars towards charity. That's their form of tithes. They recognize the secret of financial sustainability. So we as Christians, we know the word. We know that tithes and offering is our protection and provision. So I encourage you all to ensure that you're paying your tithes and offerings, secure your business, teach this to your children. They love the idea of getting some allowances and being able to pay their tithes as well. So here at Truth Nation, we love to see when the children come to the front, paying their tithes, tapping their phone, because they recognize as well the importance of tithes and the revelation it brings. Well, this has been Wealth as a Family, and I encourage you to stay tuned tomorrow as we continue this segment, focusing on the family as we gear up for the biggest weekend ever.
What an amazing time that we had with Miss Esther Bibbs. I hope y'all got your bibs together and ensuring that you're doing everything necessary to make sure that your family, our families, are successful as it pertains to our wealth. One of the greatest things that we can do is leave something for our kids. In fact, scripture tells us to leave an inheritance for our children's children. So with those tips that she just shared with us, I know for a fact we are going to be the better. Listen, we're on day 2 of this. We've done family. We did Family Matters series, and we've done wellness as a family. We did today wealth as a family. And tomorrow, you want to make sure that you tune in because we're doing worship as a family. And I know that we're going to have some interesting and very practical information that we need to get our families in the house of God, worshiping together, because I believe that's ultimately what God wants. So make sure you're tuning in tomorrow, 12 noon or 7 p.m. as we go into worshiping with the family. And do not forget Thursday. Of course, service is here Thursday. Make sure you get your family in person. It'll be a great time to bribe them in for dinner. So we'll go for some wings or something after Thursday night service, but make sure you get them in the house Thursday at 7 p.m. And then, of course, the biggest weekend ever, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 23rd through the 25th. Ensure family in the city, family in the community, family in the church. Ensure that you get your family there all 3 days so that it can be a weekend like no other. The biggest weekend ever. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you're tuned in.